Class, now we all know that Jacob's sheep are a very old breed. We came all the way from the ancient Bible times of Syria, then called Mesopotamia. Jacob was our first shepherd. He worked for his father-in-law Laban. There Jacob bred together spotted sheep. Having spots is good because it helps us to blend in nature and works like a camouflage to keep us safe. But most sheep are not spotted, and many don't have the horns we have, and that's what makes us so special. Anyway, Jacob went down to Canaan with his sheep and wives, and when his son Joseph became governor of Egypt, he moved there too and introduced the breed to Egypt. From there, Jacob's sheep slowly spread across the world. Some were used for wool, others as beautiful creatures to roam the parks in England, and now we find ourselves here on the Laura Lee Ranch. But what I bet you didn't know is the story of Jacob's blanket. One hot summer's day, as Jacob was herding his flocks across a great and dry place, he stumbled upon an area of good grazing land. There he saw a beautiful tree. He was so hot and tired that he decided to sit under the tree to rest, and soon he fell asleep against its strong trunk. While he was sleeping, he heard a gentle voice that spoke to him and said, "Awaken, Jacob. Summer is coming and you must shear your sheep. But I tell you this, do not sell your fleeces, and this grazing land will be yours for another season." When Jacob awoke, his sheep were grazing happily, and although he knew he was very poor and needed the money, he knew nobody would want spotted fleeces anyway, and thought, with another season of grazing like this, my sheep would be even healthier, their fleeces so thick. So Jacob began to shear his sheep. So Jacob did as the fairy said and did not take his fleeces to market, but kept them. That night he hoped to receive another message from the fairy. Although he was excited to be visited again, he was still able to fall asleep after a long day's work of shearing. As he slept, he dreamt of another season of gorgeous grazing land for his sheep, and when he awoke in the morning, just as the fairy had said, new grass had grown and the sheep were already munching happily. He wondered, though, what does a fairy of such purity want with such blemished fleeces? He stood up and began to walk over to where he had hidden the fleeces to make sure nothing had taken them in the middle of the night. But when he looked for them, they were gone. Frantic, he ran about searching for his wool. Finally, he ran to the other side of the tree, and sitting there was a beautiful fairy. She was carding the wool. "Good morning, Jacob," she said to him. "What are you doing with my fleeces?" he said in response, very upset. "I'm carding them, Jacob," she replied calmly. "Sit down." So Jacob sat and she showed him how to card the wool. They carded all the wool together, and at the end of the day she looked at Jacob and said, "Jacob, after being with you all day, I can tell you are an honest and good man, just as I had thought. Because of this, I will teach you the ways of yarn spinning and blanket weaving with Jacob's sheep wool. That way, with your blanket, you may show others the beauty of Jacob's sheep wool and how it creates natural colors and patterns without even trying. And the people will say, "What beauty!" And they will all want Jacob's sheep fleeces for themselves. And you will be blessed with much fame and Now Jacob, watch closely, and I will teach you how to spin. This is how you make a skein. Go up, go down, go up, go down. Do you see? Then the fairy taught Jacob how to tie it, take it off the niddy-noddy, twist it, and fold it. So day by day he learned something new, and finally the day came where he had completed the blanket. When he saw it, he was amazed at all the different colors that were born from all those spots. When he turned to thank the fairy for her help, she had disappeared, but he knew just what to do. He began walking back into town to share the news of his amazing blanket. Before he got even a half mile from his grazing land, though, another shepherd said, "What is that pattern you have created? It is nothing like I have ever seen before." And Jacob replied, "It's not a pattern, it's just the colors of the sheep." And the shepherd said, "Come to town with me and we will show my father the beauty of the blanket. My father's favorite hobby is to promote new things. He would love to help you and get the word out about your new sheep breed." So Jacob and his new friend went to town to meet the man's father. As they entered the town, the new friend spotted his father. "Hello," said the father when he saw his son. "And who is this?" he said, happily folding his hands over his great belly. "I'm Jacob," Jacob meekly replied. "I'm here to talk to you about a blanket I made for my spotted sheep I bred," he said, pulling out his blanket. "What is this?" said the father in surprised amazement. Jacob, fearing he disliked his blanket, said, "I'm sorry, it was a bad idea. It's just, I don't even know why I ever thought people would like it. This fairy said, and then your son said, and, well, fairy? I don't even know what you're talking about, but listen, you're nutty and I like that. So if it's okay with you, I'd love to make you famous, boy." "Oh, okay," said Jacob, pleasantly surprised. "Alrighty then, let's go," said the father, and they frolicked out into town, displaying the blanket for all to see. And class, that ends the story of Jacob and his blanket.